in OKC. That guy would come out to play. Quieter game for Wemby on this one. Early second quarter, Wembanyama to Castle, and there it is, the savage, vicious throwdown. Castle 6'6", giving up a half a foot on Isaiah Hartenstein. Look at that beautiful shot of it right there. Wemby can't believe it. Here's how it's handled to the folks in San Antonio.
Castle, he goes to work. Castle, oh my goodness! In the face of Isaiah Hartenstein with a right-hand tomahawk slam. Man!
Yeah, even Reggie excited, but the champs can take a punch. Cason Wallace picks off Castle's pass. Alex Caruso to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Not quite as spectacular as Castle, but still worth 2 points. OKC up by 7. Mark Dagnall switched it up a bit. He told Hartenstein, just go ball Wemby for as long as you can. And he did a great job on him defensively. The turnover here. And then on the other end, SGA. Patented fadeaway baseline. Wemby had a few turnovers in the first half. Big news, Jalen Williams, J-Dub left again. More hamstring trouble, this time the left hammy. OKC up 11 at the half, third quarter. Wemby stepping into his three. Ties this game at 66. Some nervous people in Oklahoma City. Then Wemby drives, misses, but gets his own rebound. Did that a couple times tonight. It's not something normal humans can do. Spurs down 1 at that point. And then SGA working Dylan Harper. He misses. Harper collides with Chet Holmgren. And he would go down awfully hard. And he would not come back. Heads to the locker room. Did not return. Big loss for the Spurs. SGA just turning poor Carter Bryant around. Listen, it's happened to a lot of guys, Carter. That's just kind of mean-spirited from SGA. Great move. Thunder up by 8. And then Holmgren coming baseline. He had 13. All sorts of fired up. OKC up 10. They led by 8 going into the fourth. And then Hartenstein gives it to Jared McCain. Loves the 3 ball. How about that? Off the window, off some iron.
Gotta touch it all.
Pretty good. And then Wemby coming back. He had 21 and 17 rebounds in this game, but San Antonio down 5. And then the clutch player of the year, SGA, step back. Book it. Everyone just calm down. Calm down. I got this. I got this. Alex Caruso, another big game. 17 points. The Thunder win to even things up at a game apiece. Here's SGA. What a difference a day makes.
This late in the season, like, it's nothing special that you can do. Like, every team has their identity, and when they impose their identity more than the other team does, they usually win, no matter what level or what stakes are in the game. And tonight we just did a better job of that than we did in the first game, and that's probably why we came out on top. Now the circumstances change and force you to focus on your identity more, and I think tonight we just had no chance but to play to our strengths, or else just to give ourselves the best shot to win tonight. And that's something like you go back and forth with in the playoffs. Like, just like naturally speaking, waking up this morning, we were probably more desperate than they were. Like, just naturally, because we had to get this game or else we'd go on the road down 0-2. So yeah, some of it was that, but nonetheless, you still have to go out there and do the job, and I think the guys did that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I tell you what, tough to beat the Thunder regardless. It's even tougher to beat them twice in a row. OKC has now won 9 straight playoff games following the loss. That's the longest streak by any team since LeBron's Heat squad from 2012 to 2014. Here's Mitch Johnson, who's running out of point guards.
You know, obviously this team is as good as anybody at turning you over. So when you're down some of your primary creators and initiators, it causes a little bit of an extra strain, whether that's who to play, what to run, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll just have to be sharper in that area because it's tough, fully loaded against these guys. So we obviously 27 points off turnovers is not a winning formula.
See somebody go out mid-game kind of gives you a little bit more, motivation to kind of do it for them. But I feel like coming into the game, we kind of had the same mindset, with Fox out. So, obviously, one person can't make up for what Fox or, somebody else can't make up for what, Dale brings for us. So, just trying to do it as a team.
What I mean is straight effort is, like the tactics, we all know it by heart, but we have to, doesn't mean it's easy, and we have to work through it.
We're joined now by Stephen A. Hey, Stephen A., we saw Mark Daigneault make some chess moves. He had Isaiah Hartenstein leaning on Wemby all night, held him to about half of what he had in game one. And then SGA comes through with 30 points, 50% shooting from the floor. What did you see out of the back-to-back MVP in game two?
Well, you needed to see the level of aggression that he showed. The fact is that he hasn't been himself. He's been a league MVP, averaging over 30 points over the last 4 seasons, particularly the last 2. He's been an unstoppable force, missed the mid-range himself, can hit the 3 when necessary, definitely can finish at the basket. You didn't see that level of efficiency and that level of aggression, particularly in game 1. He came out tonight looking for his shot, recognizing the urgency of the moment, because had Oklahoma City fallen down 0-2 in this series, it's over. You're not coming back from that and beating this particular San Antonio Spurs team led by this particular alien named Victor Wembanyama. You're not coming back from an 0-2 deficit, having to win 4 or 5 games, and the first 2 of them was going to be in San Antonio. That was not going to work out. So they needed to win this game. They needed to be led by the league MVP, and sure enough, that's exactly what he did tonight, scoring 15 points in each half, only attempting 6 free throws, so hitting most of his shots from the field, obviously holding on to the ball, not turning it over and things of that nature. He was efficient tonight. He was the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander we all know and love.
Well, and Stephen A., as you just mentioned, that 0-2 deficit would be a hard hole to dig out of, but the Thunder did win game 2. So how do you like this Oklahoma City team as the series moves to San Antonio?
Because San Antonio won't go away. They're just tough. Victor Wembanyama is who he is. He had 4 blocks tonight, 21.17 rebounds. But when you take into account Stephon Castle, everybody's looking at the amount of turnovers, 11 in one game, 9 in another. That's 20 turnovers in 2 games. That is not good at all. But he's not really your point guard. De'Aaron Fox is your point guard. And you've got to believe that De'Aaron Fox eventually will show his face in this series, and he'll be able to work through that ankle injury he's suffering from. But Stephon Castle is not necessarily your quintessential point guard. He's an off guard, real big, very, very strong, pushes people around, stout defender, rough and tumble, really goes after it, had 25 points and was pretty difficult to stop. And then you see some of the other pieces that they have. Champagnie obviously is a big deal. You've got to pay attention to him. You got to pay attention to Keldon Johnson coming off the bench to reign the 6th man of the year and what he brings to the table. They've got size, they've got athleticism, and they are tough. They're not backing down. Oklahoma seems to know this, having lost 5 of 6 to San Antonio coming into this game. But if Shea Butter answers the call the way that he did, and the strategy of having Hartenstein leaning on Victor Wembanyama and putting a body on him and getting away with it as much as he did in game 2, then the chances for OKC obviously drastically improve for them to at least steal 1 game.
Hey, this was a consequential game in another respect, and that's that there were 2 key injuries in this game, one for each side. OKC lost J-Dub again with a hamstring injury. We don't know the severity of that. And then Dylan Harper left as well, Stephen A. Bigger hit to which team if those guys can't play?
It's really tough to call because I walked into this series believing that J-Dub had to be available for Oklahoma City in order for them to win this series. But Harper, look at the way he played in game 1, 24, 11, and 7, if I remember correctly. And then to be the kind of player that he is, again, you see the other guys coming off the bench and producing for San Antonio, and you know they've got some bodies. But does that compare to Wallace and McCain and Mitchell and these guys coming off the bench for Oklahoma City in the absence of Jalen Williams? I think that gives Oklahoma City a slight edge in this series against San Antonio. I think Harper's a bigger loss, and that would facilitate Oklahoma City being able to steal one of these games 3 or 4.
Spurs and Thunder with a game apiece. Game 3 Friday in San Antonio. Stephen A. Smith, thanks. This is all.
At the turn of the millennium. Brian Windhorst joins me, and first thing we'll get to the specifics, but this is breathtaking basketball. Like, to me, this is the game at its highest level when you're seeing these stretches of just haymakers. It's like Hagler-Hearns, first round. Yeah?
I'm exhausted. I mean, the level of effort, the level of ingenuity, the level of creativity, the level of just sheer fight that is being displayed by these two teams. I mean, the Thunder have their entire hands full trying to deal with Victor Wembanyama. They are working so incredibly hard to battle him at both ends, to counter him, to figure out a way around him, over him, behind him. They're holding him, they're shoving him, they're pushing him. And then the Spurs are dealing with guys falling down with injury. I mean, this is really truly going to be the heavyweight aspect of this is who's going to be standing at the end. This feels like 4 games have been packed into 2. And, so tonight, I would just say, incredible strategic move by the Thunder to go with Isaiah Hartenstein as the primary defender on Victor Wembanyama, which was able to hold him down. But the injury report is going to be almost the most important thing before Game 3 because both teams lost key players tonight. I'm not sure who's going to be upright in 2 days.
Well, obviously, and we showed it in the highlight, Williams, who came back in Game 1 after sitting with a hamstring issue. They hadn't needed him. That's a hell of a luxury, a player that talented that they didn't need to win all the games they already have. But in the case of the Spurs, who are already without Fox, who's a difference maker at point guard, to lose Harper, what was the impact of his absence down the stretch in your estimation?
I think a potential loss of Dylan Harper is potentially gigantic because we've got a high ankle sprain on De'Aaron Fox. That is an injury that is not going to probably get that much better. He may be able to gut it out, but you're looking at not having him right. So then Harper looks like, a potential leg injury there, like maybe a hamstring. If that's a situation that causes him to miss time, you're just playing too thin on the perimeter. Stephon Castle is playing tremendous basketball, but he's being asked to do so much. He had 9 turnovers in this game after 11 in Game 1. They're just running out of bodies on the perimeter here. They're asking so much of their guys. And then, Jalen Williams, if that's the hamstring again, that's his 4th hamstring injury this year. And then right at the end of the game, A.J. Mitchell, who's his de facto replacement, looks like he may have injured his quad. I mean, it's crazy what's going on.
Yeah, it's, as I said when you joined me, incredible high-level basketball. We just hope that there's enough health on both sides to continue. And we'll continue this conversation in just a moment. I understand Chet Holmgren has headphones on, so I'm going to welcome him to the show. I'll welcome Brian back in a minute. Chet, thanks for taking a minute. It's Scott Van Pelt. Thanks for being here with me. We were just raving about the level of basketball, Chet. It's incredible what you two teams have brought to the table in these 2 games. You're living in the middle of it. How would you describe what's required to win a game, 1 game in this series so far?
Yeah, SVP, first of all, Kay, good to see you. It's good to be on the show with you. But yeah, this is the basketball doesn't get better than this. These 2 great teams right here, and we saw it the last 2 games. It's been a fist fight back and forth all the way down the stretch. So, we can't expect anything else for the rest of the series. We just got to keep punching.
Alex Caruso explained to me last year when I asked him for some insight on Shea. He said he's not the most vocal leader. It's an example thing. What was the example from Shea in between Game 1 and then during Game 2 where he was brilliant? Is there a way to describe it, Chet?
I think just the way that he carried himself. No matter what happens, he's going to continue to walk with confidence, come in, get his work in, and everybody follows suit. And, I think it's good that the, head of the snake kind of sets that tone.
Well, and he, as I say, he was great tonight, and it feels like next man up. We were just talking to Brian Windhorst. I don't know how much you heard, but unfortunately we see Jalen leave again with the hamstring issue. You guys have had to play through some of that. AJ stepped up, and maybe he gets hurt in the end, but you guys have to deal with adversity even though you're as great as you've been. How much does that prepare you for moments like this when it is literally next man up?
Yeah, adversity can come in any form, and this is the world of athletics. Things like that happen. You never want to see it happen. For either team, everybody wants to play fully healthy, but that's part of the game. And, no matter what happens, what the adversity is, we got 17 dudes who are ready, whenever their name's called.
I know you can't hear Reggie Miller on the floor, but he said at one point, I want to see more fire from Chet Holmgren. And like right on cue, you got 2 monster dunks. How much do you recognize that your energy and your passion can be a fire starter in a sense for your teams? That makes sense?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we all have to be contagious out there. We all got to bring a punch, bring some fire, and then, that'll lead to the next guy making a big play. So just try to make big plays, play with energy, and good things will happen.
I know it's not one-on-one, but you know the guy that wears 1 on the other team, and he's a lot, but so are you. How do you describe what that specific matchup represents to you in this series?
Yeah, I mean, it's competition at the highest level. Just like you were talking about with these 2 teams, it's 2 great teams going at it. It's no different. No matter how many games this series goes, it's going to be competition.
Let me ask one more, and I appreciate your time here. Last year when we were out there for the finals, you dropped game 1 on your home floor. You lived it, you absorbed it, and you kept on trucking, and you had a parade. How much does that familiarity with what you now must do help this team? I see that smile and I see the head shake, right? You've lived it. I have to imagine you can lean into it, right?
Yeah. I mean, you never want to live those moments, but, you can't have the good moments without the bad. And, you learn from all of them. So we got experiences from last year that we're able to carry over, but we also understand, it's a new year. We're playing a new team. We didn't play them last year, so we have to have an awareness for that. But, certain lessons can't carry over.
Thanks for taking the time afterwards. And on behalf of everybody that loves basketball, I mean, we all want to see 7, man, because this is just outrageous basketball you guys are playing. It's incredible to watch, man. Thanks for taking a minute tonight, all right?
Appreciate it. Yep, it's fun to play in, too.
Game 1, not quite as good in Game 2. Still plenty good, but OKC better. His thoughts after the loss.
Not well. We got to help our ball handlers more and take care of the ball.
Obviously, without De'Aaron, it's going to lend itself to turnover issues, but are there other factors that you guys can shore up to try to cut down on?
Yeah, of course, just consistency throughout the game in our game plan. Can think of a few down moments for myself, especially in the fourth quarter.
Victor, you and Hartenstein had some huge battles on the glass there. He was able to win a lot of those. But what was that battle like for you, and what do you think you guys can do better to not lose that way?
As I just said, it's all in the scouting. I have to trust the scouting. We have to trust it and do our work early. It's it's a straight effort.
Victor, what would you say is the most frustrating thing about tonight's loss?
I would say it's spending so much energy on catching back up to the score and then let it go away.
When you say it's straight effort, is it that simple, or are there some tactical, strategic kind of adjustments you can make?
What I mean is straight effort is like the tactics, we all know it by heart, but we have to, doesn't mean it's easy, and we have to work through it.
Brian Windhorst joins us again. I'm just looking at the box score and just circling numbers. 21 turnovers. I mean, that's no good. And the absence of Fox and then Harper late, that accounts for some of it. You had some thoughts on numbers as it relates to Wembanyama. What's that?
Yeah, so the move to put Isaiah Hartenstein only played 12 minutes in the first game, and there was a case to be made that he might not play almost at all because it was hard to play the 2 bigs. They used mostly wings on him in the first game, and I spent the last 36 hours, Scott, making the case that wasn't a bad strategy. Well, Mark Daigneault knows a little bit more than me, and so he went to playing straight bigs on him, and the difference was profound. Isaiah Hartenstein was in a full-out wrestling match with Victor the entire night. And so in game 1, Victor gets 10 baskets in the paint and 13 free throws, okay? Tonight, 3 baskets in the paint, 2 free throws. That's a massive difference. That's the effect of big on big, the effect of the malleability of the Thunder roster. And yeah, I mean, the guard play is going to be big, but if they can cut down Victor's just sheer ability to dominate in the paint, it balances the game out. Excellent adjustment by Daigneault. Excellent game. Arguably one of the best games Hartenstein's played in a Thunder uniform.
It's always about adjustments this time of year, right? It's chess. We counter your move, and we'll see what move San Antonio has in store. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 12 of 24, had 30, 3 of 6 from 3. The numbers are one thing, but in terms of what you saw, what's notable?
Yeah, this is the best game he's had in several weeks. You know, I mean, the Lakers really sold out, tried to stop him. There was definitely the Spurs game plan in game 1. And especially when Jalen Williams went out, they just needed him to be himself. And that was what we got tonight. 50% shooting game. Over the last 5 games, Scott, he'd been in the low 40s. This is a guy who shot 55% in the regular season. Got back to the line, got back to his mid-range, was able to shake free of those double teams, hunted getting to his spots, back to that 30-point number. Grade A MVP performance tonight, combined with the defense on Wembanyama. This is why this series is 1-1.
Agreed, and there were some big minutes from McCain, including a 3 that we showed in the highlight off glass, but he hit 2 huge ones, one after they got sort of an extra possession and a 2-point game. But I circled the number. Alex Caruso, if they won game 1, it would have been because of him. He was unbelievable. And he has 17 tonight and impacted this game in ways large and small. I mean, this is a guy who's his 1 rings in multiple places. I think it's hard to overstate the importance that he has had thus far.
17 points, plus 18, Scott. Plus 18 for Alex Caruso. Sometimes plus minus can be misleading. When you watch how he affects the game with so much intelligence, you know what? This guy's going to be a great head coach someday because he does so many smart things. He is able to impact the game in so many different ways. But in these first 2 games, his shooting, look, if he didn't make any shots, he would be incredibly valuable because of what he does defensively. With the guards' injuries piling up now, and with how much the Thunder need to be smart against Victor Wembanyama, it's mental warfare as much as it is physical. Caruso is worth his weight in platinum right now.
Platinum, he said. Brian, as are you, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the 2-time MVP, said he'd be better after his game 1 performance. Had these thoughts.
Just unfortunate I wasn't able to bring my best game tonight, but that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're your best version, sometimes you're not. You got to roll with the punches, don't get discouraged, and stay true to who you are.
Thunder leading by 5 in transition. Alex Caruso, who Brian Windhorst and I were just raving about all the ways he impacted the game, feeds the MVP in transition. Shai, contested baseline Jay. See, first game he had 4 points in the first half, 15 in the first half of game 2 as they built an 11-point lead. Here it's the floater and 1, pushes the lead to 7. And then here, poor Carter Bryant gets turned around and stumbles, and Shai hits that one as the lead is 8 after 3. Still just a 5-point game. If the Spurs get a stop here, you never know, but puts on the brakes, loses Castle just enough. That'll do it. Game high 30. They win by 9. Here's Shai after evening things up.
Honestly speaking, I think we just did a better job of attacking them. In the first game, I still feel like we got like really good looks. They just didn't go down. But I guess just got a little bit more comfortable with their type of defense. Obviously, it's very unique and different from literally every other defense in the league, so it takes some getting used to. But we're still gonna have to keep getting better throughout this series if we want a chance to win the series. They're a really good team, really good defensive team, really good. They check all the boxes, so we're going to have to continue to get better. Tonight wasn't good enough to win the series, and we know that, so we'll take the W, but we got to keep getting better.
Shai, these are right here. These are my words, not yours, but it's starting to feel like game 1s are sort of your feel-out game. What changed for you from the other night to tonight?
Nah, I just have sucked when I get too long of a break. I don't think it's anything other than that. I don't know. I guess I got to do a better job with my breaks, especially during the playoffs. I don't know if it's anything other than that, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it was with like 42 seconds left, you hit that midi that you were trying to hit for like 2 minutes straight, and you told the guys around you, like, calm down. You said it explicitly, but calm down. What'd you feel in that moment to tell them that?
Nah, Jared was yelling at me while I was shooting, and I was just like, bro, I'm shooting. Like, don't distract me. So yeah, that's all. I wasn't telling the guy. I was literally just telling Jared to calm down. But that's what great shooters do. Like, when they're open. So yeah, we hashed it out. We're good.
Shay.
His 27th 30-point game in the playoffs, which breaks the tie with Russell Westbrook for the second most in Thunder history. Only player with more, Kevin Durant, who had 39 30